Fox obviously bent themselves over a barrel, prostrating themselves to. I keep glancing over at the TV that's on over there, to, like, because I'm doing this from a hotel, and the like every time I look up, there's a new piece of information on the TV, and I'm like, oh God. Um, the Fox could not. It's interesting because they've been all kind of moving away from Trump over the last little bit for obvious reasons, largely having to do with the attempted murder of Capitol Police and the attack on the Capitol, and not to mention, can I say it, like, yeah, that bothered them, but also Trump just being a deluded, psychotic, whiny, like belligerent a-hole, and at the same time being kind of boring. He's like, increasingly his speeches are just dull and self-involved and crappy, and they're not newsworthy just because they're so friggin' worn out. Okay, sorry, somebody was saying, thanks Hal, I never watched Fox for a minute, so I wouldn't have to go see this. I wouldn't have got to see this gem. I know. Well, that's what I do. I kind of we walk through it. If I may, Judge Jadade, and the Five, who are normally, in the business of sort of patting themselves on the back for pedestrian, sarcastic remarks that they allege are comedy. In the middle of the day, kind of being, it's like, it's not an all-male version of The View. It's just a bunch of dicks, and whether they are male or female, just everybody on the Five is a dick, and that's what passes for comedy. If you can just be dickish enough, then you'll get, then that, I guess, is hilarious to people who want to own libs or something. All right, so this is their take on it. The Five, A.G. Garland breaks silence on FBI's Trump raid. This has 1 million views on this video alone. A million. This is some of the biggest views that their channel has gotten. Like, we see all the time clips on Fox, and the Five's videos do the best online. They're the ones that they slice up, and they do well online. I don't know what they're like. They talk about, Gutfeld and all these people in the Five kind of controlling Fox to some degree. What they mean is, online, they have the biggest impact. So, anyways, she looks like she's about to just hawk a loogie on us, but we're all very excited. Some of the best stuff about and what we're watching right now is knowing what we know now and how fast they were to throw themselves under the bus.
Hence pressure, Attorney General Merrick Garland finally speaking out on the FBI's unprecedented.
It's FBI, not FEI. Just saying.
Raid on former President Donald Trump's home. Garland defending the Justice Department's actions, but did not take any questions. The Attorney General saying he personally approved the warrant to carry out the raid and has filed a motion to unseal it.
The Justice Department has filed a motion in the Southern District of Florida to unseal a search warrant and property receipt relating to a court-approved search that the FBI conducted earlier this week. That search was of premises located in Florida belonging to the former,
heretofore referred to as the dump, that was grown from the fruits of crime.
President. Copies of both the warrant and the FBI property receipt were provided on the day of the search to the former president's counsel, who was on site during the search.
And who signed both of them and then lied for 3 days as FBI agents were receiving death threats and saying they didn't. She said, I was, and we find out from that Laura Ingraham clip, of course, that she was denied a copy of it for 2 minutes. The 2 minutes it took to make sure she was who she said she was on public grounds. It's a private club, but anybody can buy their way in.
Upholding the rule of law means applying the law evenly, without fear or favor.
He's reading from the DOJ manual.
Under my watch, That is precisely what the Justice Department is doing. I personally approved the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter.
Garland also defending the FBI from criticism in how it carried out the search of Trump's home.
Let me address recent unfounded attacks on the professionalism of the FBI.
By Laura Ingraham and Christina Bobb and members of Fox News and everyone at Newsmax. Everyone!
And Justice Department agents and prosecutors. I will not stand by silently when their integrity is unfairly attacked. The men and women of the FBI and the Justice Department are dedicated, patriotic public servants.
That comes as a source says that President Trump complied with a subpoena.
He totally complied with the subpoena. And that's why they still had 15 boxes of classified information in a crappy basement storage room at a publicly available event space that he lives in like Howard Hughes.
Issued for classified records in the spring.
Hi, I just pled the fifth 404 times. Sorry, my bad, 440 times.
And it's unclear why the FBI did not just issue another subpoena.
Yeah, I don't know. Why don't they just keep issuing subpoenas while nuclear information is just out in the wild? I don't know. God damn it, you stumped me.
As Trump and his team were, quote, cooperative and...
Quote, they were, quote, cooperative. They were, quote unquote, they were little bunny fuck you, quote, cooperative. They were cooperating. They even, every time they said the word cooperating, they did air quotes. We're cooperating, okay?
Turned over documents. Okay, I think the big issue today is...
The big issue today is how do we dig ourselves out of the hole we climbed in and pulled Trump in over us?
Besides finding out for a fact that Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, did approve the issuance of the warrant, is that there is no information as to why they chose to request a search warrant based on probable cause regarding something from the presidential records that is not in a criminal statute, but...
First of all, yeah, it is. And as a matter of fact, it literally became a criminal act because of fucking Nixon. That just by itself. This doesn't even include the secret stuff. Like, if you walk out of the Oval Office with a bunch of shit you're not supposed to have that hasn't been cleared by the National Archives, that's still a crime.
The issue is why they went so far as a search warrant.
Gee, could it be that he deserved it? Or they just want to fuck with him? Is it Trump derangement syndrome? Let's see. Would the entire U.S. DOJ just do this just to... in the middle of, like, the best winning streak that Biden has ever had, just interrupt it, throw a fucking monkey wrench in the whole thing?
As opposed to simply issuing another subpoena.
Yeah, why don't they just keep issuing subpoenas until they're out of subpoenas? And then once you're out of subpoenas, then you can move to the next.
Or getting a court-ordered subpoena. What say you, Jim?
Issue a subpoena or get a court-ordered subpoena. Wait for the court to make you subpoena him after you've subpoenaed him a bunch of times. I mean, I don't even know what the fuck she's talking about.
See?
He owns it, this guy, Garland. He
owns it, this guy, this fella. This is the guy who did it. It's on him now, okay? Anything that happens to these FBI agents that we have endangered the lives of or fomented violence against for days, that's on him, okay?
As he called it, so it's on him now. We all know Biden was involved. You don't do this without the president now.
You don't do this without the president, because that's the way Trump ran it, and he targeted his opponents all the time. He tried several times, and it didn't work.
But he's on vacation with Hunter, so we'll never hear from him ever again.
Why is that a funny thing? Yeah, you'll hear from him. He has to sign the Inflation Reduction Act today, actually. He's going to sign it. They're going to sign it today.
He comes out and everyone's looking around the television like, what is he going to say? What is he going to say? What is he going to say? He says nothing. He says,
He didn't say anything except that he signed off on it. There was a prevalence of evidence that made it necessary. They had taken multiple steps, and that the FBI agents' lives were in danger.
I approved it, but I can't say anything, but my guys aren't crooked.
Right.
Really? Oh, really? Your guys...
Oh, really? You're saying that I shouldn't suggest that FBI agents are on the take and should be and are committing treason by doing their job, and that fomenting violence against them isn't?
Aren't crooked. Well, all right, let's see. The last time they planted evidence on Trump, which was the dossier, and...
Run that by me again?
Well, all right, let's see. The last time they planted evidence on Trump, which was the dossier...
The FBI planted evidence on Trump because the Washington Free Beacon paid Fusion GPS to gather dirt on him because they were hoping Jeb would win. And when they decided that he was going to win, they decided to throw their weight behind him no matter what they had found. So Fusion GPS sold it sight unseen to the Clinton campaign, and the Clinton campaign said, this is gross. We don't need to show this to anybody. And their own internal lawyers and Christopher Steele went, are you fucking kidding? He's a crazy person and he's dangerous. The authorities need to know this stuff. How is this planting? I mean, what a ginormous reach.
And they doctored evidence to get the warrant. And
no, the warrant, they doctored evidence to get the warrant.
Time they planted evidence on Trump, which was the dossier, and they doctored evidence to get the warrant and lied to the judge for it. So now we're supposed to trust you guys?
Wait a minute. Doctored evidence to get what warrant? This warrant? Seriously, this is Newsmax level incendiary bullshit coming from, I don't know what the fuck. The dossier didn't come from the FBI or the DOJ. And I think what he's trying to talk about is he's just like slapdash mentioning the FISA shit. Is that what he's talking about? The guy who lied on the FISA application, which again, the lie that guy put on the FISA application made it more likely that they would remove the surveillance on Carter Page. It was that lie was to benefit Trump.
It's not how it works.
None of this works that way. I don't know, do you smell almonds?
And now he's going to say, we're going to release the affidavit, we're going to release the warrant and stuff like that. He's already being sued in Florida by Judicial Watch. They're the ones trying to get some transparency. He doesn't...
What? Hold on. Judicial Watch sued for the warrant? Trump has it. Why didn't they just ask him?
What he's talking about. Now,
nobody knows what you're talking about. Honestly, everybody at that table is going, like, you could tell, like, there was one laugh from Greg Gutfeld about God knows what, because apparently Biden is vacationing with Hunter, and the idea that it will be a permanent vacation or that he will not come. I don't know what the fuck that is. But I think Gutfeld just laughed at that because he thought it was a joke, but then realized he didn't know what the joke actually was.
If you have an administration, the Obama administration, that spied on the Trump campaign.
They did not.
Inserted moles into the Trump campaign. And
they did not.
Wiretapped the Trump campaign.
They did not.
And then you have a Biden administration that raided Trump's house. And
No. It was a private event space that he rents out. It's a members-only club in Florida where the former president uses as a flop house about 4 months out of the year that he legally cannot call a residency. He signed a contract with the state of Florida that no one would live there for more than a few months at a time. Anybody watching this? Anybody, including the maggots that support this asshole? Any of you live in your house 3 months out of the year because you signed a contract that it's a commercial property and you're not supposed to stay there?
And raided his lawyer's house. And
his lawyer's house. You mean Rudy Giuliani? I see. Rudy Giuliani has not been paid for his legal services, so I would say in a court of law, it would be difficult to argue that he is still or it continues to be his lawyer. Also, RICO statutes.
He seized people's phones and shackled them and gave them full body cavity searches.
I feel like I'm missing out. Navarro did not get a full body cavity search. I heard Bannon asked for one, but they denied him because no one had a hazmat suit around. So,
did they do that to any Democrats?
Well, let's see. Blagojevich. I mean, there's been a lot of Democratic, like Chicago mayors, probably.
You name any high-profile Democrats.
Well, yeah, they didn't commit equal crimes. That would be the issue. You know what I mean? Have they done this to any non-bank robbers?
Who's have their
Have they arrested? Have they had heat-style shootouts with any other normal people who use the bank? Huh? Okay, just because Wayne Grow and the rest of the team can't be trusted to pull off a proper job, sure, the police show up and there's a giant shootout, but what about the people who were there to cash a check? How do we know they actually had money in their account? What if somebody was there to pass a bum check?
Raided, their phone seized, their computer seized, anything.
Based on what? No. I think you've done really well, Jesse, at pointing out the fact that none of them are criminals on the level that are even in the ballpark of Trump criminality.
They only lock up Republicans.
Well, that's because they... I mean, do we want to get into Dennis Hastert?
Do this to Trump Republicans. So you don't have the benefit of the doubt here.
They don't? All right. They didn't do it to Romney. What about Bush? What about Reagan or Bush 1 or any of these folks? So it's clearly not a Republican thing.
You've cooked up phony warrants. You've worked with dirty prosecutors, worked with dirty cops. The Democrats are all in this together. So
yeah, this doesn't sound like someone's got a bag full of Alex Jones's farts and they've been huffing them all day.
I don't trust you. The country doesn't trust you.
I trust them. I think it's pretty reasonable.
He said, she said.
It's a lot of he said, she said. Well, yes, he said they didn't, or she said they didn't give her a copy of the warrant and the documents, and of course we now know they did.
Apparently they were cooperating for about a year.
For about a year, except for the part where they kept 15 boxes of top secret classified information
and
in an unlocked room. In June, they had to be told. Oh, 2,000 in the chat. Welcome, guys. Holy smokes. Bless you. And I wish I had a better production value show today, but it's just the nature of it. Thank you for forgiving me, and I hope the audio and everything's okay. Best we can do. Like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Support the show. Just if today, can we just breathe in and exhale and enjoy Jesse Waters' panic attack, because this asshole is all in on this stuff and there is no getting out. His ego and his lack of intelligence have backed him into a corner like a cornered wildebeest, and the rest of the room is filled with his fellow wildebeests. Thank you for reminding me.
He poked his head in and said, hey guys, there's some boxes. You want to take a look? Have at it.
And yet they kept them for months. He didn't say, they was like, have at it. Cool, we'll pick them up today. No. They'll stay in that room. Well, can you at least put another lock on the room? Because these are cheese ball locks. Anybody could just come here, boom.
You have to show intent. Remember?
You have to show intent. No, you don't. No, you don't. Yeah, you could, like, I didn't intend to rob the place. I just walked in with a gun. I don't know what I was, I had the hockey mask. I don't know where I was emotionally, if I was intending to rob the bank or if I just felt the need to walk in with a gun, with a mask on my head and yell everyone on the floor. It wasn't that I had an intent to rob the bank. I just wanted to see if everybody would lie down when I told them to.
That what they said about Hillary? You have to show intent. Where's the intent? He was cooperating. They had lunch at Mar-a-Lago when they came by a few times. Everything was copacetic. They probably...
Everything was copacetic. I mean, he wouldn't give him the stuff. He kept refusing to do it. He got a subpoena. He didn't answer the subpoena. They sat on it for 2 months. This is top secret material. He was keeping it in a public space where the members are not... That, believe me, if Mar-a-Lago was some sort of like MAGA paradise where you had to swear an oath to America first to step on the property, I gotta say, it would be hard for him to even do the shit we're worried about him doing, because there'd be a bunch of like proto-patriots wandering around going, we gotta watch out and see if there's any Chinese coming in here, man. And meanwhile, that's no such thing. Like, it's anybody whose check clears can be on the property.
Took a dip in the pool. What's the big deal? The next thing you know, you have guys with guns show up.
No. The next thing you know, 2 months fucking pass, and they still haven't answered the subpoena and given up the stuff. They were supposed to bring it. That's what the subpoena was for. They were supposed to get a truck, put the stuff in there, to have the Secret Service bring it back. They didn't. Bada boom. You know, I was going to get to it. It was like, it's what time is this? 4:22. I'm only like 3 months late.
Way too heavy-handed, and now they own it.
Well, what's interesting.
Yes, now they do own it. They own actually giving a crap about national secrets, and now everyone at Fox and the Republicans do not anymore. The whole BS, like about them caring about national security or even quote-unquote backing the blue, is hilarious garbage now. And, super chat. Hiya, Hal, and my fellow sparklers. Thank you, Farah, for the super chat. Thank you guys for becoming members as well. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. Appreciate you.
Is that those same guys told the president to double lock the area to protect the records.
And then
After 15 months, this asshole had to be told to add another lock. Why is that a brag? 14 fucking months this asshole left this stuff available. Or no, 16 months. This stuff was just sitting there. It had one of those like the lock on the door, until I'm proven wrong, is one of those bathroom locks you can get in with a safety pin. They're like, can you padlock the fucking thing? It is a storage room. Anybody can walk up to this thing.
And then they broke the locks. But Harold, what do you say about the fact?
No, there's no. By the way, they made that up. I don't know that they broke the locks to get in that door at all. And by the way, prove to me, I want footage, that the padlock that they had on the room was actually closed. We put a padlock on it. Did you lock the padlock? No, it's a padlock. Okay, so who had the combination to the padlock? Who? Like, none of this adds up. This is garbage. It's just silly. And they're like, they put a padlock on it. We got top secret, a padlock.
That for the first time in the history of this country,
a former president is such an asshole that he takes top secret documents when he leaves the White House in a huff, while refusing to participate in the peaceful transfer of power, takes them down to his private resort club that he lives in like a fucking hermit, away from his wife and child, and puts top secret documents in a basement storage room with a padlock on it. Why am I not sitting at that table? Greg, you coward. What is wrong with you? Why won't you invite me on the show anymore, buddy? I came on Red Eye a couple of times. I promise not to physically teabag anyone there, even if I do it metaphorically.
Of a former president.
A foreign president. Oops, that's a... Did you hear that little flub?
To this country, we're raiding the home of a foreign...
Ooh, raiding the home of a foreign president. Well, it's a little bit of a Freudian slip.
A former president, a potential political opponent of a sitting president, never.
Well, no. I mean, the fact that Republicans would vote for an asshole who took top secret stuff from the White House and hid it in a room and padlocked the door in a public event space, again,
been done.
It's never been done because no other president in history has been this big of an asshole.
American history. It takes 4 days for the Attorney General to come out and own it because news.
It takes 2 months for Trump to answer the subpoena, and he never did. They had to have a search warrant. The judge had to issue a search warrant because they ignored the subpoena for 2 months. By the way, after a member of his cabinet was considered a flight risk and had to be busted at the airport fleeing another subpoena, it kind of stacks.
Said he didn't do it, he wasn't involved in it. I mean, why is it that we've got to go this far for this kind of information to come out, which is basically, I approved it, but don't ask me anything more?
Why do we? Who's we, dumbass?
President of the United States, former President of the United States, for 9 hours the other night had the search warrant and the receipt. His lawyers and he had access to it. He told his friends. For the life of me, I can't understand why he would tell his friends and allies he didn't have it, but I'll come back to that.
Oh, it's not good. Jesse's not enjoying this.
The point.
That's okay. Now we know why Jesse's pissed, because I'm blitzing on this dude's name. Some of you will know that he's supposed to be the alt view on the show. That's why. Then he keeps bringing it up. So,
with this Attorney General today, I thought it was something that probably should have happened a day ago. But he had no obligation to do it because, Judge, as you well know, and I'm not a trained lawyer like you are, but I'm a graduate of law school, the federal investigators don't comment on ongoing investigations. Now, I've heard some
yeah, the only reason he did it is because people like Jesse Waters were like fomenting violence against FBI agents, and there was a very like a genuine concern that someone is going to murder them.
Today still about the Attorney General and people wanting to know more. I want to know more also, but there's an investigation underway. Now, President Trump is in.
Yeah, but you don't understand. The Five and all the Republicans need to dirty up the investigation as much as possible by having as much information come out as possible so that Trump could never get a fair trial, because people know he stole. Everyone in the country knows he took top secret documents. How will he ever get a fair trial? I think you're right. It is Harold Ford. Yep.
Until proven otherwise. In fact, he hadn't been charged with anything. I was glad to see Attorney General also explain to the country that this was a court-approved search warrant that had all the required information.
Jesse Waters is writhing in his seat.
That a court asked for in order to, around probable cause, in order to do this. Mm-hmm. Don't mistake or misconstrue what I'm saying, anyone around the table. I'm not rooting against the president. But
no, of course not.
Don't, for the life of me, I'll come back to where I started. If the president had the warrant, had the receipt, why would you tell your friends and your supporters that you didn't have it and blame and attack FBI agents and other federal officials? For the life of me.
Somebody's flicking their paper around. That's Jesse Waters, who's like, damn it.
I don't quite understand that, but I'm hopeful and prayerful.
I'm hopeful and prayerful that the president doesn't actually have plutonium.
But as this investigation.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, on the Fed, no. It's not over here. Didn't go off on the. Oh, there it is.
Goes forward.
Sorry, my girl was looking for a vote. Never mind. Hi.
That if the president will have an opportunity to, I hope, express himself. You might all.
Yeah, express himself. Hey.
Probably know the president has until 3 o'clock tomorrow to respond to the.
We know how that went.
Court in Florida regarding whether or not they should unseal the warrant and the receipt. Now, I don't know why he wouldn't just say right now, release it. He has until tomorrow to do it. The receipt and the warrant are going to give us, I believe, some answers to some of the questions that we have around this table and some of the questions that have been asked today.
It is up to the court at this point to
No, Judge, it's not.
release it, and the court will make that decision on Monday.
But Judge,
No. On Friday, all right, they just played a clip of Garland's statement. They had all just watched it, for Christ's sake.
No, Judge, you're not right. They gave the Trump team has not said they want to release it.
Right, and the court will decide based upon what happens tomorrow. The court ultimately decides.
No. He can waive that right anytime.
The president said he didn't have the warrant or the receipt 2 days ago, and he told friends of mine that he didn't.
Oh, by the way, I would like to take a moment to welcome the trolls that we have in here. I am sorry that you're not having a better week. The Inflation Reduction Act just passed the House, and the president will be signing it today after passing the CHIPS Act and after passing the PACT Act, which Republicans fought against. All three of those things, by the way. And so I'm also sorry that as you're driving around, you're going to see not just traffic cones and that kind of stuff, but around your cities and stuff, you're going to see these large projects, big land movers, ground being flattened out, huge infrastructure projects in all of your states. Yeah, that's because Democrats passed an infrastructure bill last year, and those projects are starting to happen. Construction jobs are going to be going through the roof over the next year, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for you guys, except for the fact that your life will be better and your country will be better. And I'm sorry that upsets you. I don't quite know why, but you'll figure that out. And I'm sorry also that my chat room does not get emotionally upset by you the way other chat rooms do. I don't know what to tell you. There are other rooms you can go to if you want them to wig out. Mine just don't. They're just awesome.
Issue was they are saying that they were shown the warrant.
Look at Greg, by the way. Just like, what do I say in this? How do I get? Is there coffee? Can I get the hell out of here?
That the attorneys who were on site from 12 feet away. But that's neither here nor there.
They have it.
I'm so confused by this. I was under the
Yeah, that's okay. This is the first honest thing Greg has said all day.
impression that it's about the affidavit and not the.
By the way, Greg has more paper in front of him and is a bigger mess in front of him than anybody, because it's sort of his show, even though it's 5 other people. Or 4 other people. It's like a group of people, but it's somehow like he's the Barbara Walters of this situation. He's got more information in front of him on his desk all the time and knows less about what's being talked about than anyone. Maybe it's because a lot of their sarcasm is based on ignorance and not information. Yeah, that sounds great, that kind of stuff, which is not really comedy. It's what idiots have instead of a sense of humor.
Well, Greg, that's a question I'm going to ask you. We can talk about the search warrant, because I've signed them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Till the cows come home.
You've signed them till the cows come home.
Talk about the
Well, then you should know that the person who got it can release it.
Inventory. The only thing that matters is the basis upon which the warrant was issued.
No, there's a lot of things that matter in this. And if you think the basis was off, that's another part of it. That will be fought by Trump's team in court. But ultimately, the curious thing about this particular search warrant is that they were not looking for contraband. They were looking for documents and things that would hold documents, or the destruction of documents that belong to the American people and therefore property of the U.S. government. This is not a Coke raid.
What was this?
Although I'm sure if they saw any green boxes of Adderall and knew any better, green boxes of Sudafed. I don't know what color the Adderall boxes are at all.
Would give him probable cause to say a crime was committed on something that is not a criminal act. The president.
Wow, just getting out over your skis.
Presidential Records Act, unless maybe it's about something else.
Could it be about something else? What could it be? Could it be about something else? Again, could it be various classified, top secret, confidential, miscellaneous secret documents, confidential, top secret documents? Could it be about something? Could something be could it possibly be?
I don't know.
I don't know. I've got Christina Bob's number on speed dial, and Trump would answer any of us if we called him immediately right now. Jesse Waters spoke to him last night. I don't know.
No. Is that the question?
That is
I was
the
just making the
question.
point that a lot more people, I think it's about the affidavit and not the warrant.
No.
Mm-hmm. No. It's about both, dummy. The affidavit is worse. Guess what, stupid? The Trump land is praying that all that comes out is this list and the warrant. Because the affidavit that spells out how, when, and why it led to them needing a search warrant anyway, for his team.
But anyway,
Judge,
Anyway, whatever. That's, I mean, the raid might be totally justified, and the president had top secret stuff. But anyways,
You've signed warrants. What's in the warrant?
What's in the warrant?
Yeah, what's in the warrant?
What's in
I'm
the
just saying,
warrant?
Greg, I'm only saying that they should release the warrant.
let's. I want to talk
It's up
about.
to the
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Greg.
That's all right. I apologize.
Mayor Garland says we had to do this because we couldn't do it any other way. That's what you call circular nonsense.
oh, is it? It's circular nonsense. I thought that was one of the working titles for this show, wasn't it? Weren't they going to call the 5 originally circular nonsense? I think. Oh, that's when. No, it was going to be the 10. It was the 2 tables, and they slap them together.
Sorry, Your Honor, I had to kick the dog because I couldn't not kick the dog. So that.
Yeah, that's the legal reasoning. I'm sorry, Your Honor, I had to kick the dog because I couldn't not kick the dog. We now know the president, for months, has been harboring top secret government documents in a bathroom off of his office.
Basically, he's a perfect bureaucrat. I'm glad he's not a Supreme Court judge. He came off pretty badly. As about the...
Yeah, he doesn't have that kind of Alito, we took away women's rights, boom, slam dunk kind of energy.
He describes the FBI as patriotic servants. I would agree. But who else are...
I would agree. But Jesse and I have been talking, and some of them need to die. And if only some maggots would take care of the good.
Patriotic servants, the IRS agents. And we've been making fun of the IRS since 1862. And the fact is, that is our right to criticize patriots and non-patriots alike.
Yeah, it's not about criticism, dummy. Jesse is fomenting violence against them. Love watching them all climb out on a branch for him. I know, LM. That's thanks for the super chat. That's one of the most amazing things is just watching these guys, like they have never learned. They have never learned that if you follow Trump down this road, he will always screw you.
The things we say about lawyers, we've been saying for thousands of years. We've been wishing harm on them. So.
Yeah, so if we wish harm on FBI agents, it's all in fun. Who cares if, and look at this brick, like, who cares if it led to actual violence?
This idea that...
And by the way, they all laughed at the idea. Thanks, J-Lo.
We cannot criticize or denigrate anyone for fear that someone else in this country will do something crazy. In 2 words, screw you.
Whoa, all right. So this is apparently Greg is feeling this criticism that's coming their way because of the Cincinnati shooter. And again, this is not about criticizing the FBI. This is Trump saying they planted evidence, them, Jesse Waters furthering that idea. This is not about like they mishandled this or this is political or whatever. This is, an innocent man being dragged through the mud, blah, blah, blah. This isn't, because people had those kind of criticisms about like Kenneth Starr around Clinton, that they started with the Whitewater investigation and ended up on, dragging his sex life through the tabloids was the issue. That never led. Democrats didn't show up at an FBI field office or at the special counsel's house with a nail gun.
That is a trick to shut you up.
No. That is a statement to tell you to dial back the rhetoric and stop saying that the FBI are planting evidence, which is Jesse Waters, who is 2 people away from you, just inferred that it is completely believable that they did. That and look at his face right now. He's supposed to be the funny one in this show and kind of keep things light. That's a panic face. I think our dear friend Dr. Scott Adams would agree with me on this. That this is a dude who's showing you all 4 whites. His eyes are wide. He is there. He was reading off a note on his paper that they know this is coming their way. Steve Doocy the next day, this morning, pushed back on this very thing because they have heard, and it's circulating through Fox News, the amount of death threats against FBI people from Fox fans is really, it's growing exponentially the more Waters pushes. He's got a stick in this wound and he is grinding it.
Basically saying, oh, how dare you? You can't do that. No, we actually can. And coming from people in the media.
First of all, can is one thing. That's the thing about America. You absolutely can. We're just saying it's dangerous, irresponsible, psychotic, and totally devoid of factual information. You are fomenting violence against FBI agents. You, Greg Gutfeld. It is your show. This is your show, Greg. The 5 is they put this together so that you could have your own little version of daytime red eye. And Jesse Waters has dragged you into a corner with him and is making the case that the FBI agents that are involved in this and the judge that are involved in this are committing a crime against the country because they are doing their legal duty towards Donald Trump, and that they're planting evidence on him, that this is an active attack. And using that kind of language is very different from saying this is a kangaroo court or this is a show trial or they're just trying to get him or hoax and witch hunt, that kind of stuff.
Delighted.
Do they think they rehearse this show? No, but they go through the talking points and they have their beats written out for the show section by section. So there's a segment producer that works more than likely with him that goes, okay, you'll hit this point, and then it's sort of open, which is why Harold Ford brought up his point, but they go to each person and they're supposed to bounce it around the table. They have not hit what's her name, who's next to him. This is one for Summer, sharing you on your guys' vacation. Thanks for all you do, Hal. Absolutely. Les is smiling, trying. I appreciate it.
The orgy of police denigration as violence was actually occurring, as the riots and arson were happening, and saying horrible things.
Okay, first of all, at no point did you hear any kind of language saying that from Biden or anybody in the Biden campaign or anybody around him or maybe the Cori Bushes of the world. I'm trying to think of which Democrats might have, even in their loose language. I mean, they always go to Maxine Waters saying get up in these people's faces, but Maxine Waters, first of all, Democrats don't open carry and brag about being armed all the time. So when we talk in terms of getting in people's faces, it means language. It means, shouting them down or something at the worst. When maggots mean it, they show up with guns.
Then you have the media and you have the FBI monitoring social media for threats.
Yes. Because the guy who shot up the Cincinnati FBI office, who came down there with a nail gun and an AR-15 and led local cops on a chase and ended up dying in a fucking cornfield where he was fighting off cops. He'd barricaded himself in a barn or something. He posted that he was going to do it for 24 hours before he actually did it. That's why. All of these school shooters nowadays are posting stuff online. That's why they monitor it. It's not a violation of your free speech that they're any more than you have free association. You can, in the town square, and this isn't even in the digital world, walking around, you can walk around all the hell you want. But if a cop is standing there and you start a fist fight with somebody, or you look like you're about to, the police are going to look at you. Other citizens are going to look at you and go, what the fuck is this dude's problem? That's the equivalent of monitoring social media.
Looking at online message boards.
Online message boards. You mean like Reddit threads that call for the murder of FBI agents?
That is the equivalent of monitoring every sporting event for heckling.
No, it isn't. It's the equivalent of monitoring the internet chatter around like the Super Bowl to make sure nobody puts a bomb in the fucking place. He wrote this down. Look at this shit. Look at this. Is weird. One of my lights went out. It's probably better. This is the light is okay. Look at the fact he drafted this up. This is kind of amazing. Gutfeld sat down with his producer or his writer or in his own free time or whatever before this fucking show, and these are the analogies that he came up with. That this dude in Cincinnati for 24 hours was boasting that he was going to kill FBI agents and was calling on fellow maggots to attack them, to attack the FBI with him. And if you don't hear from me, it's because they got me. They killed me. Like this guy was going to go out in a blaze of glory for Donald Trump. And so monitoring as that chatter starts to grow because of fuckheads like this dude, somehow they're not supposed to do that. Even though this is stuff people are saying in public. What you say on social media is public. They're not searching people's DMs. They're not going through people's private emails. You are saying this stuff in public. You are writing it down and spraying it. Like half these people are like writing it on they're writing it on bathroom walls with date. They're signing it and putting their date and time around it. And he's saying, listen to this analogy. Listen and watch look at he's fucking. This is so Don Jr.
Boards. That is the equivalent of monitoring.
Look at him reading it. This is the equivalent of
every sporting event for heckling. You know,
he thinks that's a joke. If no one heckles with a nail gun, fuck you, you creep.
If you want to find that threat or opinion or anything, you can find it. I bet I could find a death threat against Dana Perino. I bet I could. It's probably from Kilmeade. But I'm telling you, if you...
Okay, that's supposed to be a joke, too. He's got that in there. It's kind of inside joke. He's trying to lighten it up. It's too heavy a topic for... His jokes are too weak for the weight of the topic. So he's kind of trapped underneath it. And so it's just coming across as like pathetically sarcastic whining.
If you want to look...
By the way, look at his feet. Look at his foot, kind of like perched up like that. The other one too, like he's on edge about this. This is like, where's Scott Adams when you need him? Like,
for something like that,
you're still reading it too.
You're gonna find it. So this is just kind of a way to keep you from talking. The amazing story about this is, what if nothing is there? What if it really?
Yeah, right. This is great. Go. You know what, Greg? Work this angle. What if nothing is there? New sock money due to how deep the shit is getting over at Fox. Thank you, John. Thank you guys for the super chats. This is Houseworks Mega Worldwide, by the way. I go through these clips long form. They post these clips. I didn't take this piece of the five and decide to jump in on it. They posted this as an example of their work, their argument. They chose when it starts, they chose when it ends, and they chose everything that's inside of it says, this is Fox News saying, we agree with and sign off on this piece of the show specifically. And I think that it's important to break these down. Like, I could go through one of these things like the whole show, but it's even more telling when they say, we want you to know that this sums up who we are. Look at the fucking panic in Gutfeld's face.
The amazing story about this is, what if nothing?
He wrote that down too. He's got, what if it turns out to be nothing on his fucking paper. You can see it. He wrote it on the paper to the right.
There. What if it really is about bland documents? How bad does Garland look then about making...
How bad does he look then? I've written it down. Yeah, dude, this is... Anybody with half a brain knows that nobody is gonna, everybody's aware that maggots are psychotic, that there are a bunch of people who are willing to die for Trump. And just playing with this would be dangerous enough. that there are a bunch of Timothy McVeigh wannabes that are out there. That's reason enough why you wouldn't just go, screw it, let's just mess with them.
Mountain out of a molehill. If they don't have a picture of Trump making out with Putin,
okay, this is it. He wrote that down too. God damn, this is bad. Like, I don't really watch this show, but I was kind of counting on slightly better jokes. I don't know why, honest to God, because he's supposed to be, you know, I guess Fox sells Gutfeld as their kind of like new star. The Trump was even celebrating him as this. Maybe the ratings dropped off because I don't know.
is a bust.
You know what?
Okay, that was supposed to be a button on that joke. It was supposed to be, unless they got a picture of Trump making out with Putin, it's a bust. Wackadoodle, wackadoodle.
A picture of Trump
What?
making out with Putin. This is a bust.
You know what's amazing though? They can dump.
That's the, oh God, this is terrible.
On cops as serial racist murderers, but don't you dump on the FBI,
Yes.
okay? So, Dana, I go back to you with the original question.
Okay.
The requirement is that
Yeah, oh, by the way, IFB is telling her bring Dana into the conversation. Greg checked her name checked her. So.
use the least intrusive means.
Yeah. It's been 15 months since they started, like, talk and found out things were missing and started going, where the hell are these things? Least intrusive.
Available to seize evidence.
Yeah. They waited till Trump was away so they didn't have to cuff him, so they didn't have to make him stand in the yard for 8 hours. They did it in the morning. Nobody was wearing big FBI jackets. If you'll notice, none of them had the Secret Service guys were outside. They had Secret Service written on their stuff because that's what they do, because they had guns and they didn't want people taking a pop at them. But the FBI agents that were inside were not wearing their FBI jackets because they were trying to be deferential. But in all the pictures that you have seen, the graphics put up by everybody, including Jimmy Dore and all these other people about the raid, what did they show you? Pictures of FBI agents in their jackets.
And there is nothing, especially with a history of cooperation,
The history of cooperation, you know, where they ignored a subpoena for 3 months and didn't return any fucking phone calls or any papers. They said, yeah, we'll totally get it to you. And then it's been a couple of months and national secrets are in a fucking padlocked door with it, like one of those like particle board bathroom doors on it. And I will say, I'm just gonna put this out there. If they're gonna go out on a limb supporting Trump, I'm gonna go out on my own limb and say the padlock was on the door. It wasn't latched. It wasn't even closed. They padlocked the door by putting a padlock on there, but they didn't close it.
history of handing over 15 boxes that suggests that court order wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, and also it was.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked, even though they had another 15 boxes and a bunch of random top secret documents sitting around.
In this day and age, we have no video.
Yeah, it's weird. There's CCTV. Christina Bobb just told us on Laura Ingram's show that that Trump watched it, that Don Jr. watched it from New York while they were, prepping for him to say, to plead the fifth 440 times. Right?
Remember when they
told them to turn off the CCTV.
And they didn't.
And the videos.
Okay.
And they didn't.
I was told that by Eric Trump.
I was told that by Eric Trump. Did he also tell you that they didn't? And that Trump watched it from New York? Because that's what his attorney, who was there, said. Eric wasn't.
Right. So, however it happened,
However it happened like I said it.
No video. We don't even have video of the FBI arriving. Do you remember when they went after Roger Stone's house?
Yeah.
They alerted CNN. Okay.
No, they did not.
So Merrick Garland
CNN was watching Roger Stone's house.
saying, and that's kind of clever, right? He's like, nobody even had to know. Because we didn't say anything. The president's the one who made it public, but that was the president's prerogative to do that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he made it public, and then was he the first one to say something about it? Maybe so.
everything that Merrick Garland said today could have been said in a written statement on Monday night.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't have had the Newsweek story that everyone was talking about how great this Newsweek story is. Turns out it's not true. They said that Merrick Garland didn't even see it. Never even. Now Merrick Garland has to come out and say, actually, I did.
Yeah, okay, so that's what they're referencing. They're referencing the Newsweek story. I did not see Newsweek's story about this, but that either that's their source, but that's not what Merrick Garland's office said. And so, like, citing that is kind of like, is just Newsweek speculating.
They could have done that on Monday night.
And again, Jesse Waters thinks that the Steele dossier was planted on Trump by the FBI, and therefore you can't trust the FBI and the DOJ because they planted that on him, and that Newsweek speculating about Merrick Garland knowing or not knowing is the equivalent of Merrick Garland saying he did not sign off on it and lying.
After the president revealed the information, and then you wouldn't have him in front of the cameras not answering questions from the press. There's a reason that Merrick Garland is at the top of the list that for Republicans, that if they take back the House, they want to investigate. You're talking about the schools, remember, domestic terrorists. You're talking about...
Yeah, so what about the domestic terrorist part? That wasn't the parents' shit. The domestic terrorist part was about people at these school board meetings who are threatening the lives of teachers and principals and other parents. Like that was where they were like, they're going after people, the parents of kids. There's an echo in the audio? That's weird. Oh. That's very odd. Okay.
The fact that they did not do anything at the Justice Department to protect Supreme Court justices who are being attacked, and
no Supreme Court justice has been attacked.
Crisis Network, they just put out a $1 million ad talking about that. That's before this even happened. And that all just happened today. And so the last thing I'll say, because in the B block we're going to talk about the White House, and I've got thoughts about that.
No doubt.
If I don't understand how a document can be this critical. Like,
Okay. I'm shocked. I thought we'd clearly this late in the video to have the stupidest thing said is this. I thought we were well past this point.
I don't understand how a document can be this critical. Like,
I don't even know how. Really? You don't know how a document... Have you ever seen a spy movie? Have you... Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy? Any of the MI6 people, like, here's a good idea. There's a document somewhere that has our... the direction and route our nuclear submarines take. How about that, stupid? God damn, this is dumb. Fox, I appreciate you trying to help me out here by making my job this goddamn easy, but at some point in the future, I would cut off clips before this. Right? I would have edited that moment. I wouldn't say that unless you want to get rid of Dana Perino and you're like, God, we've got to figure out a way to get rid of her. You keep cutting her clips off because they're dumb. Just leave them on, and eventually...
Unless it has how a document can be this critical. Like, unless it has... You want the picture... You're saying if it has a picture of Putin and Trump... out?
Yes.
Like, short of the nuclear codes being written on these documents...
Ooh, this did not age well.
Locked behind closed doors. I just really don't understand how a document...
Short of the nuclear codes. Just so you know, this receipt for property, this was given to Christina Bobb on Monday at 6 o'clock at night before all this shit started. when Harold Ford says, I don't know why they let their own team, why you let Trump supporters walk out on a limb like this. This is 3 days into this shit. This is after a man attacked the Cincinnati FBI office and led cops on a chase and died in a fucking cornfield.
It could warrant this kind of.
You don't know why this could warrant. How about a knock list, dummy? How about the names and locations of foreign spies that we work with against our adversaries? How about the position of our nuclear sites throughout the United States, throughout the world? How about there's a myriad of I don't even know why I'm answering this. I don't even know how did I get dragged into this? How? God damn. This really was said on this show.
Trump making out?
Yes.
I think, short of the nuclear codes being written on these documents in a locked behind closed doors, I just really don't understand how a document could warrant this kind of warrant.
I don't know how they could warrant this kind of warrant. Holy shit. And she's looking right down the barrel of the camera. Like, you get me? I said, warrant this kind of warrant. Oh my God. This was the anchor on this clip. They went, everybody in this, on the five spoke during this clip. And maybe that's the standard. Maybe they just have to include everybody in the clips that they post and they all sign the paper. Holy hell. I don't even know how you can be that dumb. I feel like that Bill Hicks bit where he's like, hey, what you reading for? Not what am I reading, but what am I reading for? Shit, you stumped me. She just showed that she does not understand HIPAA and a woman's autonomy. She's not a helper. Cipolla. Oh, well. Yeah, that's impressive. Congratulations, the five. I thought I could be. I was astounded by how where is it? Let me go back to these early on. Yeah, I thought it was enough to be astounded by Jesse Waters' just wanton disregard for human life amongst law enforcement and other people, and his just not giving a shit. I thought Judge Janine's inability to understand who's allowed to talk about the contents of a warrant when she knows full well. I thought that was kind of amazing. I thought the fact that Harold Ford in the middle of this was saying, well, I think the crazy thing is that he knows what's in this and he's letting everybody just take heat for him. And then we get around to Greg Gutfeld, who's got some jokes written on a piece of paper, all of which are predicated on the concept that he should be allowed to foment violence against FBI agents because Maxine Waters told people to get in people's faces at restaurants and tell them to fuck off. That's essentially it. And that's the same as this dude in Cincinnati showing up with a nail gun or violent threats, physical threats, like gun-toting lunatics saying today's the day. That's the same thing. And the nice thing about this show is that my conscience has always been clear that I do not, and you guys can attest to this, ever call for violence against anybody for words they say or deeds they do in any circumstance, unless they are a direct physical attack on you and you're defending yourself. Anything short of that, no, not. I will not even wish COVID on someone or wish illness on someone. It's not something I do. People do it all the time. I'm just not going to participate. You do you, boo, but that's not how I roll, and I will never give comfort to that kind of shit on my channel, my show. It's not going to happen. Greg does not have that standard. Greg is arguing that because some other people, were raging against police in 2020 after the murder of George Floyd, that gives him free rein to call for violence and joke about violence against FBI agents and the judge in this case. That's his. No, you cannot get a pass for Alex Jones. What you want is for all these people to just, they all have their own path. They don't need any help from you. And trust me, watching them go through it will be plenty satisfying. But in this case, this is Greg Gutfeld, a coward, a weakling, and an impressively unfunny person, considering what his role is on the show. Defending his right to foment violence against FBI agents, not because of anything they did, but because of allegations that he made up, or that Jesse made up for him, that the White House signed off on Merrick Garland making them do this. So these guys who are just professionally carrying out this search and seizure warrant, which has been, in a back and forth that's been going on for 14 months, or longer now, 16 months, that justifies him being okay with calling for violence against FBI agents. And I thought that I was as shocked as I was going to get in this until, thank God, Dana Perino brought it all home by saying the stupidest thing that was said, because it was presented in the form of a question that I don't know how the other half of your brain doesn't answer it so quickly it gives you a cramp and makes you black out. Yeah. So I would like to say, for the record, while she and Judge Janine and I mean, Waters is gross, but she and Judge Janine kind of vie for kind of the dumbest takes on it. Ultimately, Greg himself, yeah, I think he wins the 5 eggs today, because this dude would used up his segment, his part of this clip, saying I should have every right to call for violence against the FBI and wish death upon them the same way I do with lawyers in a generic form. Where did they kick Geraldo off? I think Harold Ford is filling in that spot, and they rotate people through. But whoever's in that seat is the Alan Combs of the show. I think that's whoever's sitting in. Whenever you watch that show, if you watch that show, if we ever see that, if you ever see it again, and other than me showing you these clips, I don't know why you would, because I mean, this is the quality content that's on there. Whoever is sitting next to Janine, between Janine and Jesse Waters, is the Alan Combs in this. Is the well, I gotta push back kind of bullshit. Yeah, today's dupe. That's exactly right.